Okay. Hi, Mike. I'm
Hi,
nice to
Tony.
nice to see you.
Good to
Uh,
see you again.
Look good in Florida, I guess.
Yeah, in Florida. Yeah, I'm having a good time in Florida, wasting away in Margaritaville.
Nice to hear that. Well, just a short discussion because my Zoom will cut us out in around 20 minutes.
Okay.
So maybe we can just go through a couple of interesting topics. Uh, the last time we spoke, you mentioned like a Catholic Muslim cooperation and basis for that, if you remember.
Yeah, I do remember.
Yeah,
Yeah. Since we talked, that has become a real political reality. I'm talking about the election of Zoran Mamdani to New York City. He's a Muslim. He's the first Muslim who's ever gotten elected to a major political office in America. So this is a reality now that didn't exist when I talked to you last, but the idea was there. So we're reaching a point where, as I've said, the triple melting pot is changing. Triple melting pot means that there are three ethnic groups based on three religions: Protestant, Catholic, Jew, exactly the way Yugoslavia was based on three religions: uh, Orthodox, Catholic, and Muslim. Now we're ending the Third Republic in America, which began in 1945. The Protestants are disappearing. The Protestant religion is evaporating. People don't go there anymore. But we're also watching the rise of the Muslims, who are becoming a more important group in America and could replace the Protestants. Nothing will replace the Protestants because they were the people that gave the identity to the United States of America. And that's not going to change, but they could certainly become part of what we call a quadruple melting pot. So I'm trying to talk to them. And I think I'm having some success in talking to them. So I said we have the basis. I'm proposing a political coalition, and the basis of this is we have a common enemy, namely the Jews. The Jews have taken over our political system in the United States of America. The Jews are the main group responsible for the state of Israel and the genocide in Gaza, and I think that's reason enough for us to collaborate. Um, we also worship the same God. I know I get in trouble when I say that in Yugoslavia, but it is the teaching of the Catholic Church. And all I think we need is a moral consensus, which is what we had in America. That's the only America that worked. It was basically you could never have an established religion in America because they were all crazy. All the Protestant sects were crazy. They couldn't talk to each other. And the only characteristic they shared was breaking off from each other. So whenever someone got tired or had a disagreement, he'd break off and found a new religion, to the point where we have 30,000 Protestant sects in the United States of America. So it could never serve that. But did have a moral consensus, specifically in the sexual area. And the man who understood that was the novelist Henry James. Would write novels at the end of the 19th century about the American going back to a city like Paris, for example, or Daisy Miller, An American Goes to Rome. He wrote that in direct response to Hawthorne's book, The Marble Faun. And the Europeans were all sexually decadent, and the Americans were all puritanical. That was the state at the end of the 19th century. That changed after World War II at the beginning of the Third Republic because of the Jews. The Jews destroyed that moral consensus by promoting abortion, pornography, all kinds of usury, all kinds of things. So the question is, can we restore the republic? Can we get together with the Muslims, who tend to be conservative over here, and create a political alliance that will basically drive control, bring the Jews under control?
Oh, you have certainly here our triple melting pot already includes Muslims for a while. So uh, here, basically, what the things that let's say, commonly that we kind of share is the nature of the two religions. Basically, the both the Catholic and the Islam are, let's say, let's to put it this way, universalist religions.
Yes.
Uh,
They're not
as
state religions. They're
yeah,
not ethnic religions like the Orthodox and the Protestants. You're
yeah.
right.
So that's one common thing, and the other one is the, let's say, the religious geopolitics. You have the situation in the Holy Land and the Jerusalem that, in particular, that always tends to be some kind of axis that things revolve around geopolitically. So basically, and in this setting, the Muslims and the Catholics alike are not satisfied with the status quo there. So that's like
No,
a big commonality in this time and age.
right. So
Yeah.
what I think we're seeing here, let me back up a little bit. I gave a speech in Dallas. I was canceled by the Knights of Columbus, which is a Catholic fraternal organization. I'm a member of the Knights of Columbus. I was kicked out by my own organization. And the people that took me in with about 12 hours to go before my talk were the Islamic Association of Irving, Texas. So I was grateful to them for that. A couple of Muslims showed up for my talk. But I was sitting in the lobby waiting to give my talk, and the Islamic Center is off to the right. There's a mosque. Off to the left, there's a basketball court. I have never seen a mosque in Iran with a basketball court. What this is an engine of American assimilation. So you got a guy with a jalaba making jump shots. He could be a Serb.
Yeah, well,
What
could
happened
be.
to Croatian basketball players, by the way? Why is it only Serbs that are now in the NBA?
I don't know. I don't know. It's generational change. I have no idea. Yeah, we had a great generation, but I don't know. Kids stopped playing basketball, I guess.
I don't know. I know, but anyway, so what I'm trying to talk to the Muslims about, in addition to this alliance, is assimilation. You can't move here without assimilating. And so the question is, it happens in the next generation. So the first generation that comes here, they hold on to the language, they hold on to their food, but the next generation doesn't do that. And by the third generation, you've got Americans. I'm third generation Irish. I think I'm fourth or fifth generation German. And by the time you're a third generation, you've lost that identity link. But the question is, what type of American are you going to become? Is the NBA your role model? Is it Sean Kemp, who has the world record for fathering illegitimate children in the NBA? He fathered 19 illegitimate children while he was playing for the NBA. Is that going to be the Muslim role model? This is the question I mean to ask the Muslims, because I think I have a contribution to make, because I just wrote a book on American identity, which deals with all of the attempts to Americanize immigrants, which are some more successful than others. So that's
Well,
the dialogue I'd like to have with the Muslims.
yeah.
The other, go ahead.
Yeah, speaking of the American identity, it was. I can't wait to get the book. The book I like ordered it, but I hope it will come. But your talk on the Satanism as being the hidden grammar of Protestantism. Well, here being in another setting where you have mostly, when we deal mostly with this ethnic, ethno tribal religions, uh, I can say that there are, say, stark similarities. So I can, in a way, well, maybe Satanism is a strong word, maybe Luciferianism. It's also in the root of these ethno-tribal religions. So you don't have to know like American poetry and literature to go to this. It's enough that you read the Bible, and there is
No,
this.
I have to disagree with you. You cannot understand America and the satanic nature of America unless you read John Milton's poem Paradise Lost.
No, no, I agree on that.
This
I'm
is the
talking about.
unwritten Constitution of the United States of America.
Yeah, yeah, you missed. It's my English. So what I'm talking about is the ethno-tribal religion. It has the same root, and the nature of the root is not in literature, is in the Bible, and it's explained by Jesus himself. Okay, when
Yes.
he is debating uh, with the Pharisees, and they invoke their tribal, their DNA, their
State, the
tribal
seed of
group.
Abraham.
Yeah, that's
We
right.
are the seed of Abraham. Go ahead.
So it's basically the tribal pride, and Jesus calls it satanic.
That's right. Your father is Satan. That's exactly what he said. This is perfectly consistent with the Bible, and you're absolutely right. It comes from the Bible. The vehicle in Protestantism is sola scriptura, by scripture alone. So what happens, these are Puritans. Puritans are Judaizers. You give the Puritan the Bible, he immediately goes to the Old Testament. This is what Oliver Cromwell did. And he said, I am Gideon, and the Catholics are Amalek, and so I have a right to kill them, man, woman, and child. That's what he did in Ireland. And then they came over here, they did the same thing with the Indians. The vehicle, you're right, the vehicle is the Old Testament, but there's a group out there that want to blame it's not the Old Testament itself, it's the interpretation of the Old Testament that is the toxic ingredient, the main toxic ingredient to Satanism.
Okay, if you remove the the Catholic Church or the official interpretation, you automatically get this. It's either some kind of imperial operation, and as Thomas Aquinas said, it's always a criminal enterprise. Or in the other hand, if it's a smaller operation and it's tribal, like more national, it's an ethno church. And the ethno
Yeah,
church is basically going back to the same uh, Jesus Pharisee dialogue when he calls them up by this tribal pride and this, let's say, DNA religion.
that's right.
So you have basically in any direction you move out of the Catholic Church, it is the original sinful origin, basically.
Yeah, I think it's a temptation. We all want a kind of ethnic religion. You see it among the traditionalists here, the Latin Mass crowd. When Michael Matt has his conference, he calls it a gathering of the clans. That's ethnic. That's an appeal to ethnic religion. That's not the universal Catholic Church. You can have your ethnic group can become Catholic, but the church is not a group of clans. It's not that way. That's an obsolete understanding of religion, because the main clan in history was the Hebrews, who were the God's chosen people until they killed Christ, and then that deal was off. So it's obsolete. It's an obsolete form of religion, but it's attractive to people for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, yeah, it is attractive, and well, at least here in the Balkans, it's thriving. I mean, it does have the appeal. A number of young people like prefer to go to the Orthodoxy because they find it more maybe muscular, I guess, a bit more maybe, let's say, more hardliner.
Yeah,
So it,
the Protestants here they're all leaving the Protestant church. A lot of them are going to the Orthodox churches because of the liturgy. They're starved for liturgy. Orthodoxy has a much more robust kind of special liturgy in a language they can't understand. But there's a problem there. Let's take the other side of the coin now. Let's take Nathaniel Hawthorne, whom God brought to Rome. This is the man who wrote about the absence of confession, sacramental confession in Protestant churches. God takes him to Rome. God takes him to St. Peter's Basilica. God takes him to the confessional. And the door opens up and an Italian walks out And he's confronted with this existential question. Do I have to become an Italian in order to become Catholic? It all goes all the way back to St. Peter at the beginning of the church. St. Peter felt you had to become a Jew in order to become a Christian. And St. Paul had to rebuke him on that and open up the church to the Greeks. So Hawthorne, what does, in living in Boston in the 1840s, what Catholic church was there? There was a Catholic church for the Irish. There probably wasn't even a Catholic church for the Italians yet. Every Catholic church in America at that point was an ethnic Catholic church. So it was exactly analogous to the Protestants who want to become Orthodox. Well, what kind of Orthodox do you want to become? Do you want to become a Russian Orthodox or a Serbian Orthodox or Bulgarian Orthodox? Do I have to become a particular ethnic group in order to become a Catholic? That's a dilemma, the evangelization dilemma that these state churches face.
Well, not nearly the same. I mean, in the Catholic world, you have this diocese that's a geographical, let's say, it has geographical boundaries, and it's responsible for the Catholics living there. And it all goes to emanates from one center, being the Rome. And in the Orthodox case, you don't have that. You have, I think, maybe 12 bishops, 12 Orthodox bishops of New
I
York.
agree. It's
Yeah.
an
So basically,
analogy.
it's not a geographical; it's an ethno-tribal church, or imperial one. Depends on the size of the tribe or the size of the nation. So you have over geographically, they overlap. You have like I don't know, Bulgarian bishop of New York. You have the Serbian bishop of New York, Russian. You
Right.
actually have three Russian guys, maybe because
Right. Look,
so
when I was in Estonia, you had a big turf battle between the what would it be, the Constantinople, the Patriarch of Constantinople, fighting with the Patriarch of Russia over who was going to control the church in Estonia. So you had a turf battle there
well,
between those two groups, and that's all that patriarch wanted to talk about with the Catholic bishop, how the Russians were stealing his flock. But I'm saying I'm not talking about theoretically. You're right theoretically, but concretely, the Catholic Church in Boston or in the United States of America during the 1840s, during the middle of the 19th century, they were all ethnic churches. It would be
well,
hard to find a non-ethnic church. We still have this in South Bend, Indiana. If you look at the churches today, they're with it. We go to an Irish church. There's a Polish church a block away, and there used to be a German church another block away. That was three different churches within one block of people who couldn't talk to each other, even though they were all Catholic.
yeah, there were like three priests and three congregations because of the language barrier, but you had the same chief, okay, the same bishop
I agree.
that
You're
could
right in saying
that was a unifying person that could, negotiate that out. But
right.
here you don't have the same bishop, you don't have even the same pope or the same patriarch, as if you want to call it that way. So it's fundamentally different thing
Right.
here
I'm just
in
saying,
yeah.
there were similarities.
Yeah, okay, in that manner, yes. Okay, so let's well, we can go on about that, but there's a couple of news because we will be cut out. So the thing that is here in the media, uh, basically, they try to pitch again this DNA story. So there are like a million articles about how they extracted the Hitler's DNA. And the problem about Hitler is, of course, in his DNA, and he had some condition, and the size of his penis, some crazy story.
This is ridiculous. This is
Yeah,
absolutely ridiculous. This shows you the length to which the Jewish controlled media will try to uh, get you to hate people or demean people or defame people. This is preposterous.
yeah. And another,
You know what it shows? The Jews are desperate. They're losing control of the narrative. They're desperate. They're willing to say anything now. Look at Mark Levine. Have you been following Mark Levine?
No, no, I'm not not yet not
Well,
having
he's
time to
desperate.
follow the Americans.
Anytime someone disagrees with him, he calls him a Nazi. Look at
Okay.
the Tucker Carlson interview where he talked about Mark Levine and Ben Shapiro. They're getting hysterical because they're losing control of the narrative. Nobody believes them anymore.
Well, here, wow, well, here, hey, yes, this is another. We have a common friend and another, let's say, big international news story. It broke up in Italian media. It was called the I Cecchini del Weekend. It means weekend chetniks. So it's basically from the Yugoslav wars, the wars in Yugoslavia. You had some really influential foreign people that were sympathetic with the Serb side, and the Serbs had the upper hand, so they could, drive around this important uh, foreign, mostly Westerners. There were some factory owners, some doctors from Italy that were taken in tours in the Serb tanks, and they even paid, made some contributions, and they were allowed to shoot on the cities, especially in Sarajevo.
Are
It
you
was under
kidding me?
siege. Yeah,
Are
yeah,
you
yeah.
kidding
It's
me?
it's a big story. It's the Italian
You're saying
prosecutor.
this happened during the Civil War, that Italian tourists coming in firing shells into
Yeah,
Sarajevo?
yeah, yeah. And the thing, and your friend
My
immediately
friend
came
Tom
into my
Fleming.
mind. Yeah, that's
Tom
right.
Fleming.
So tell him if you have a contact with him, tell him to stay out of Italy, because the Italian prosecution is actually now making interviews and catching these people's addresses and interviewing them. It's they're all cases now. It happened like 30 years ago, but it got new life, and the Italian DA apparently thinks
He,
that he's
Tom
trying
never
to build a case.
Tom never answered my question.
Uh,
I asked him if he fired a shell. It was not in the article, but I distinctly remember him firing a shell into Sarajevo. So he was claiming to be a reporter, but I guess he was a war tourist.
yeah, there is the articles that are now mentioning this team as like Sarajevo's war safaris or something like that. So it's
Ah,
totally sick.
this is awful.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Mike, thank you to coming by, and have a good time in Florida.
Well, thank
Hope
you.
hope that your book ends well, your newest book.
Thanks, Tony. Let
Okay,
me know let me know when you get the book and we can talk about it.
okay, okay.
All right, peace.
Peace. See you.